process of keeping up with her. Not that she walked fast, she was too mad to want to keep up with the group, but I was afraid she might turn around and eye her back trail. Luck was with me. 2 hours after leaving El Pueblo de Muertos, my pussycat prey sighed and sank her rear down on a flattish rock. She made a grimace with her lips, and reached for her canteen. Her face was turned away at this moment, so I figured it was a good time to launch my attack. I ran across the barren ground as fast as my legs could carry me. I might have made it undetected had not a rock decided to make a stab at my toe. I plunged face down right in front of her. Caramba! Raquel squealed. Who are you? I answered her with my hands that latched onto the right ankle, tugged and turned. Raquel squawked, slid off the rock and bounced her buttocks on some stones just below her resting place. Sorry about this, sweetie, I muttered and slammed her in her soft belly with an elbow. The air went out of her lungs. She gasped and choked, flopping in her helplessness. If you have ever had the breath driven from your lungs, you know that feeling. She could hardly move. I'll make it easy, honey, I told her. My hands went to her throat. She was another human being, I know. After my hands left her throat, I was sick all over the ground, but she was an enemy and I was engaged in a quiet little war to prevent her kind from getting a foothold south of our border. So I did what had to be done, then relaxed to let nausea soothe my nerves. I buried her naked body and my clothes under a cairn of rocks. Then I slid into her plain cotton panties, khaki pants, blouse, fatigue cap, and the armament she had carried. I examined the attack rifle, the machete in its scabbard, the 2 hand grenades hanging from the leather belt. Everything seemed to be in good working order. I took up the march where Raquel had left off. Far ahead of me, I could make out the thin line of terrorists moving slowly around an arroyo. The last man turned and waved at me. Listlessly, I waved back. Fortunately, Raquel had been teed off at her pals. I could lag behind all I wanted, and pretend to be as sullen as the dead girl really had been. The one thing that troubled me was, how in hell was I going to hide my face from the others when it came time to join her? Sure, I looked a little like Raquel, but not that much like her. Up close, they would spot me as a stranger. At first glance. So I needed a disguise. I figured I would not need it for very long. I was going to play terrorista only long enough to learn where the scare group was heading so I could prevent their going through with their task. Maybe I could make do with the red bandana Raquel had in her pocket. I tied it around the lower part of my face so I looked like a bandito. Anybody could yank it off, sure, but I was counting on the fact that Raquel had a mad-on at her world, and would repulse any such attempt. It was damn hot, under that Mexican sun. My shirt was sopping wet by the noontime halt, my yellow hair hung down limp and lifeless on either side of my masked face. I felt like a mess and I'm damn sure I looked like one. El Oro came toward me as I sat down to reach into my knapsack for such rations as I could find. I stared at him over the red bandana, scowling. Why are you wearing a bandana? He asked. My shoulders lifted in a shrug. He grinned and said, you took a fall, S.I. You scratched your pretty cheek, S.I. S.I. I yelled angrily. S.I. His laughter boomed out. Raquel, you think too much of your appearance. You should forget yourself and be a good member of the party. I did not answer him, not so much because my Spanish was too fluent, it was, we LUST agents must learn foreign languages as part of our training. I just didn't want him getting suspicious about my voice. Raquel was so mad at everybody it would be part of her character to sit here sullenly,